Hey everybody, Boomhauer69 here, and I'm gonna be in my garage talking about my ideas and stuff here that I have that I'd like to do in the future. So, first of all, if you don't talk about your ideas, they don't become a reality. And yes, I know I'm a small YouTube channel. I'm not making millions and millions of dollars like that. I'm Mr. Beast and some of these other big YouTubers and stuff, but is it possible? Yes. Is YouTube a job? Yes. You know, my idea is through the YouTube AdSense revenue to be able to generate enough income to where I can pull these ideas off. It is possible. I know a lot of people say YouTube's broken and stuff. It's just going to be a lot more harder than what it used to be to make reality. But you can still do it. You just gotta keep working at it, keep grinding at it. A lot of content creators say YouTube is broken again and stuff, but you can still make it happen. I believe, and I'm gonna try. But yeah, my idea is I would like to someday have the funds, the millions of dollars it would take to in the near future to build a homeless shelter for the homeless in my area. That's what I would one of the things I would love to do. The reality of that is I'd probably just only have enough money to buy a building and convert the building, whether it was a commercial or residential, into a bunch of bedrooms, small bedrooms basically, and be able to, excuse me, be able to turn into a bunch of bedrooms, and that would be the reality. But my goal is I would love to be able to be like be like some of these rich, wealthy people that have the millions and billions of dollars and be able to build some big thing, something that would have two types of rooms, one type of room for single people, one type of room for families, and then have like a gymnasium, swimming pool, a cafeteria, some sort of like day room, computer lab thingy, library, what the heck, kind of like a day recreational room for like the homeless to hang out in, maybe shoot some pool, look at the computers, have computers, and whatever, get with the community and figure out what needs to be a cafeteria, office space from local governments and nonprofit organizations, and basically counselors, caseworkers to talk to people. Also have a little walk-in clinic, medical center, so people could get checked out and stuff if there's a medical issue, and have doctors on hand to call, in case the worst case happens, somebody smuggled in drugs and had an overdose or whatever, or somebody sick and they need some attention, have like a walking clinic for whatever reason, and also to endure drug tests. Because one thing I would do if I was the owner of a homeless shelter is I would be drug testing people, where saying, hey, if you want a room, pee in a cup, and then have professional medical people to test to see whether or not they're on something, and then the local law enforcement handled them. I would have like a little special area for local law enforcement to hang out and stuff, and be checking people for any drugs and narcotics, and then that way and stuff too. Cause that's how I would be. Cause on that stuff, and have like an office space for counselors and stuff to be able to talk with people, maybe somebody from that's a representative of some rehab facility or whatever the case may be, and then also have some community rooms that the community could rent out. Maybe some little old lady wants to get with other old ladies on Wednesday night and have a sewing group, or some guy is into some sort of hobby, and he wants to get with other people that have similar hobbies, and be able to have rooms for them and stuff, and maybe some retail space, and stuff. And so yeah, that would be something I'd love to do, but that would take millions and millions of dollars, money I don't have, and stuff. And I know there's a lot of people saying, oh, you should do GoFundMe and all that stuff. No, no, no. The way I'm going about doing this is through the YouTube ad revenue is my ultimate goal to make that a reality and stuff. That's how I want to go about doing it. Because I want to prove to people that through YouTube ad revenue and what these video social medias are willing to pay people, that you can still make your dreams a reality. YouTube is somewhat broken, like a lot of content creators talk about YouTube being broken stuff, but it's still possible. It's just you gotta work. It's gonna be a lot more harder than what it used to be and stuff, but it's still possible to make your dreams a reality. And so I always figure, instead of trying to manage multiple social media accounts, I just focus on the YouTube, and then Facebook and Instagram. Once in a while, I'll throw a video up there to advertise and try to bring more people to YouTube. I've been focusing a little bit on also on Instagram a little bit, because I got a lot more followers or subscribers, whatever you want to call it there. I'm not monetized on Instagram. That's one thing. No, I'm not monetized. I've tried getting monetized on there before, but it just kept erroring, and so I'm like, I'll give up and just focus on the YouTube monetization and stuff. So yeah, and I gotta get my butt up and focus on a little bit the Facebook. I'm also not monetized on Facebook, but on my Justin Facebook there, I'll have to focus on putting some more, like, I guess call it advertisement videos on there as well. I know if I wanted to, I could on YouTube promote my videos to help gain more views and stuff, but with my money situation, financial situation, is I don't feel like it's safe to do all that. That's why I don't even have a fan mail PO box, because I don't have the money to be doing that as of right now and stuff. So, and later on in the near future, that would be something I would like to do is have like a fan mail for maybe for people that like to send their favorite content creator and stuff that. So yeah. But yeah, the idea is what basically, as far as like to give you an idea of what kind of homeless shelter I would love to build would be basically kind of like what you see at like a hotel motel type setup. That's what would be the best description and stuff. And so I'm gonna somehow figure out how to keep talking about this idea to help make it a reality and stuff. As far as like product review videos go, right now I don't feel comfortable. I'm not going to talk about that, but just focus on the homeless shelter idea. But yeah, on the homeless shelter idea is basically the rooms would be the simple amenities that like any standard hotel room has and stuff. A bed. I would do a computer instead of TV, mini fridge, microwave, bathroom, all that stuff. That's what I have. And then as far as like making family rooms, I would, if I had the billions and billions of dollars, again, if I was rich and loaded with money, I would do also like mini apartments for families, like a family of four or whatever, like a typical family, where it'd be one bedroom, a little kitchenette area, and then a living room space that would have about a couple of beds, kind of like hotel suites has and stuff. So that what I would do and stuff for as far as building a homeless shelter, and like I said before, commercial office space and all that stuff. So yeah, that's my goal, and through the ad revenue of YouTube is how I'm going to try to make that possible. It's not going to be easy. It is going to be a hard one down the road, but once my YouTube channel reaches that point where I say, hey, I got the money, I can do this, then it will be take that money, talk to the local government, and talk to the right kind of people, I should say, and building companies, and make it a reality and stuff. So that's how I'm going to try to pull off my ideas. I'm not going to make GoFundMe pages or do all this other stuff. I'm not going to do that because I don't think that's the right way to go. I'm not going to sell merchandise. I'm not going to do any of this. Hey, subscribe to the channel, become a member, and get all this stuff. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do the merch, the membership stuff or the merchant. No, I'm not going to do that because my way of giving back is giving out free content, and I'm not gonna do the become a member and get exclusive content. And I know somebody put, well, even if you didn't offer up anything, I'd still pay to be a member. No, I'm not gonna do that. That's to me taking somebody's money. I'm not gonna do that. That's not gonna be my thing and stuff. Not my thing to do. And I do know how to do some of that stuff, but I'm just don't care to. As far as like T-shirts and merchandise, I don't have the time to do any of that stuff, and I don't care to get with somebody and try to create a little logo and throw it on a stupid T-shirt. Half of those companies that a lot of YouTuber and content creators use, their clothing is not of a good quality. It's just made in China, sweatshop, bullcrap, sold together with crappy stitching, sewing. Like that one coat I did a review video about one time that I bought off from Amazon, that one winter coat, and and so no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna only through the ad revenue of YouTube. It's gonna take a long time, but I'm ready for it. It's gonna happen. But then stuff, God answer my prayers, and he's continuing to answer them every day. He knows when the time is right and stuff on that. So yeah, but yeah, that's what I would do as far as a homeless shelter goes. Is do something like that, or maybe not the grand slam type building. Maybe even I would, even if at the time I realized I had some money where I could do something smaller, then I would do something smaller too. Probably the reality might be more just buying an existing property, converting it over to a shelter, not having all these fancy amenities and certain things. That always the possibility. How I would pull it off is at the time when I felt like I had some money to play with, then I would go from there and look into it. What could look at my financial situation and say, okay, this is what I can afford, and go from there and stuff. Because the key important thing would be is to have some rooms available for the homeless to stay in for a night or something temporary, like a homeless shelter in this area to help the local homeless and stuff and get them off the streets and be able to encourage them to want to get a job or whatever and figure out what they need and stuff and so yeah, but that's my ultimate goal. Like I said in the previous video, which I'll put a link down in the description for, we can go back and watch that. It explains all what I'd like to do if I could build the grand slam of things. A little bit more, the reality would probably be, instead of the multi-billion one, it would probably be the just taking an existing building or existing residential or commercial space and be able to convert that somehow into a smaller homeless shelter and stuff. Because either one, it's still going to help out the community, and that's the end goal, is to help out the community, help out those in need, no matter what. I even thought about that, if at the time I had the money where I could buy a simple basic residential house in the next town over called Ionia and be able to there or it's not for sale, but on the corner here there's it used to be a school, where not a few blocks from me, and I walk by that building sometimes and drive by it, and sometimes I think about if I had that building and I had to use that as a homeless shelter, how would I go about that? And a building like that, if that was in the right location in the right town, which it's not. You could easily that has a gymnasium, an old gymnasium in it, and you could easily have a kitchenette in there, and then make a bunch of bedrooms. I picture, okay, how would I convert that into a homeless shelter? What would it look like, and throw around envisions and stuff. So yeah, the reality of building a homeless shelter would be not the big multi-million-dollar one that I yipped about. It would probably more just, you know, taking, say maybe 500,000 or 200,000 and trying to, make something happen. But it all boils down to it all boils down to at the end of the day when I get to that point, okay, what can I do? Like, what kind of money I have? Because then what happens is you make that idea a reality, and then you hire a camera crew, and then you film the process. I don't know if any of you people of converting the space and everything. You film the process from start to finish. Like a lot of these home building shows, like what's that one cable? Well, I can't remember that one cable network show. I don't have cable, but out in public, I watched cable satellite before, and when my mother was sick, I used to stay in a lot of motels that had cable satellite, but that one H thing is called like HGTV, where they have all that people fixing up their homes and stuff. And now, when I was a kid, I used to watch on PBS a show called This Old House, and how they go about it, and that would be the goal, to be able to film it. Well, like I used to talk about when the people I knew for many, many years that owned the church next door to me, that was my ultimate goal. If I would have been able to successfully raise the money up through YouTube ad revenue to be able to fix that place up, was that would have been the goal, is to film the process from start to finish and stuff, and doing that, and then you get content for the YouTube channel, and then you make a playlist, homeless shelter, whatever, and you call it, and then you got content created, and then you're dragging more people in and stuff, and make things good. That's my goal is on this YouTube, is to help those in need and stuff. And I notice in my area, homeless shelters need. I think we do have kind of one in Ionia County, but it's one of those that's kind of small, and we need, I think I think we probably need like maybe a couple. But it's just all on the homeless shelter idea. It would be at the time when I realized, hey, I got some money, see what I can do, and stuff. So yeah, and no, I'm not going to make GoFundMe pages and all this stuff. I'm not taking anybody's money to fund these ideas. It's going to be YouTube, Google. They're the ones that are basically going to pay for it, because, and I'm going to do about free. I want to go through it in a free way and stuff, because right now I know the struggle, with money. I work a job where I don't make a whole lot, I make a little bit over $300 a week at my job, and the only reason why I stay there is because it allows me to do YouTube somewhat and try to make my goals a reality. So that's why I work the job I work. But and so I know how struggle is, because you got people out there that can't afford to give, but they would say, "Oh, that's such a nice idea," or they want to be a big shot and they go donate all kinds of tons of money. No, I'm not going to do that. I talked about that before, why I don't do that. And no, and plus, doing it for the YouTube ad revenue is also encouraging other people that are starting out and trying to build up their YouTube channels or whatever social media just are using to upload videos and stuff, whether it's TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, whatever, and they stumble upon the video and they say, he did all that for just the ad revenue off his videos. It will encourage others, and that's the thing I want to do, is encourage you and others that are out there trying to do what I'm trying to do, build up your social media channels and social media pages, whatever you want to call them. Each social media platform has a different name for their stuff. YouTube calls their profiles, channels, and then Facebook calls them profiles or pages, whatever, and prove to people that yes, you still can, through just advertisements of the videos, make something. It's not going to be easy. YouTube is broken, like a lot of content creators say and stuff. It's going to be a lot harder than what it used to be, but I feel deep down it's still possible, and yes, you can make it happen. So yeah, so through the YouTube ad revenue, that's my goal, is to be able to make enough money off the YouTube ad revenue where I'll be able to build this idea of building shelters and fund my other projects and stuff. So yeah, that's my goal and stuff. So yep, if you like this sort of content, give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, or a thumbs down if you didn't like it. Comment your thoughts below. Did you think this was a good video, bad video, whatever? But yeah, so basically my idea of the whole homeless shelter, if I had millions and millions of dollars, it'd be basically building, to give you a rough idea of what I'm thinking would be neat to build if I had millions and billions of dollars. It's just basically like a hotel, like the Hiltons or Holiday Inn, just like a big old giant. Basically, it would look like a big giant hotel with a few extra amenities and stuff. So, thank you for watching.